Hello, guys and gals. And this is a book review for Barnaby Grimes' Return of the Emerald Skull. And this is a book by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddell. And so, we are back with Barnaby Grimes. And if you're new to the Barnaby Grimes series of books, he is a messenger, basically. A TikTok lad. But this is Victorian London, so it's before computers and, TikTok was around. TikTok is in, time is money, a messenger. Back then, in the Victorian times, they only had horses to get around, coaches, horse-drawn coaches. There were no cars or anything like that. Anyways, so he's also a lot like Sherlock Holmes because he solves mysteries, or there's always a mystery to be solved. And this one, it starts off with a rather interesting scene, I would say. Like something out of, okay, I meant to search. It's either Incan or Aztec. I'm not sure exactly what the ritual is. I'm thinking Aztec. It's an Aztec ritual, I believe. I believe that I used to do a lot of research into archaeology and, old ruins and stuff like that. One of my favorites was always, I'm going to mispronounce this, but Chichen Itza in Mexico, I believe it was. I just remember it was Latin America. But I'm pretty sure you can visit there because I've heard of people, visiting there, going up the ziggurats. They're not exactly pyramids; they're ziggurats. But yeah, there's also a game based off of Chichen Itza, which was called oh man, I know I have it for the NES. It was really kind of a weird game, but it basically used Chichen Itza as a backdrop, actually. And if you're new to the Aztecs, they would have a ball game sort of type thing. Think of it as basketball, except maybe mixed in with elements of baseball, I would say, where the hoops aren't. You know how the basketball hoops are vertical, right? And the ball goes through them, down. Well, these were horizontal, and the ball would go in through the side, I think. Or you try to get the ball in through the side. I think that's how it works. Don't quote me on that, because it's been ages since I've done research on that particular topic. But the thing about the Aztecs is that after the ball game, I think they basically sacrificed the losing team to like some god or something, like Quetzalcoatl or something. I don't know. Anyways, so mainly anything, usually anything involving the Aztecs actually involved this human sacrifice stuff. So of course, when we're talking about an emerald skull, that basically is its origin is from the Aztecs. So you have to expect that there's going to be some kind of human sacrifice involved. But as always, this book series always leads with their best stuff. In Curse of the Night Wolf, it was a werewolf transformation. In this one, it is basically, well, it's basically a human sacrifice, I would say. And then basically the rest of the book is basically getting to that point, and then the last part of the book happens after this point. So it's a jump forward in time, a jump back in time, and then a jump into the future, which I think is a formula that works out quite well. Anyways, this one is about, oddly enough, this is oddly about Barnaby Grimes' laundromat. Well, I'll call it a laundromat. Basically, he's well enough off that he has an Asian laundromat, but it's done, the old way because this is Victorian Britain. Um, so, anyways, the laundromat owner's daughter um, is a practitioner of this Middle Eastern. I wouldn't say Middle Eastern. I say Asian. This Asian mysticism. I forget exactly what it's called because it's been a long time since I've read this book. But it is basically the concept of focusing on the empty space around objects, basically, and basically reaching out to that space, um, reaching out to spaces between objects, basically focusing on things that aren't there that are around physical objects. That's about the best that I can describe it. Anyways, so Barnaby basically learns that from the uh, the uh, the laundromat owner's daughter, to a certain extent. Anyways, but first of all, we need to go back to the beginning. Barnaby is talking about what he calls lockup schools, basically universities that sometimes have maniacs that run the place, or the students get enslaved or something, and then the parents are sent back like form letters, so they think the kids are okay and stuff like that. But he goes to this one university, and it's not like that at all. In fact, it's a really nice university, and it's run by a nice headmaster, that's really into birds. He likes to collect stuffed birds. Basically, it's Middle Ages, and so there's birds. He collects these birds, they're stuffed. They're like taxidermed birds, I would say. And he has them all in nice little cases, he does research and, figures out what their natural habitats would be. And so he has Barnaby go on to pick up a bird for him, or what seems like a bird. But of course, Barnaby Grimes is always a magnet for the supernatural. In the first book it was werewolves. He was a magnet for werewolves, In this one, when he goes to pick up this package, where he's supposed to go pick it up, of course, he goes to the address. There's a big, thick fog that rolls in, and basically, it's a bad omen, but he doesn't think much of it. A ghost ship, shows up, and that's never a good sign. And so, yeah, there's that. Takes the package and then just delivers it like he's supposed to. And then he doesn't think about it for like a month or two, He thinks about it because it's weird, But anyways, I'm not giving away any spoilers, though. But anyways, it's just that this one is basically about Aztec mythology, I would say. Whereas I think werewolves are mainly considered European mythology, I would say. Because I know there's like wood carvings from like the Middle Ages of, people turning into werewolves and stuff like that. But yeah, Barnaby Grimes. And so yeah, kind of like the Sherlock Holmes of the Victorian area, the Victorian era rather. Really a fascinating book. The first chapter is usually very, very macabre, I would say, of this series. And it's a nice drawing point, actually. This one was fascinating. And basically, also, when this actually happens in the book, because, basically because, you read the first chapter. And then basically as you read through the book, you kind of forget the first chapter. But then when you get to the section of the book that covers the first chapter again, then I noticed that things had changed. And then I'm like, oh, wow. It's kind of ingenious how they did that. But yeah. I do want to check out other books by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddell. They have a series of books that I want to check out called the Edge Chronicles, and I think it's like 3 or 4 sets of 3 books. I'm not sure, but they're all kind of like this. They also have some like offshoots of other characters, I guess. But I'm glad that I checked this one out. This book was pretty cool, and there's 2 more books in this particular series I do need to order from the library eventually. But I'm going all the way through the Wings of Fire first. Just started book 14, I think it was, of 15. And there will be a book review of all of those, all the books. I mean, there will be a review of all the Wings of Fire books. With the 6th video, I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the sixth video will be a summary of like that entire arc, because it's divided. The Wings of Fire books are divided into 3 arcs of 5 books each. So I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then a summary of that arc. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the summary of that arc. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then a summary of that arc. And then maybe read Deathstalker, I believe, is the next book after that, which is kind of an offshoot book. It basically gets into another character, the lore and backstory of a character from the 2nd arc, I believe it was. So I do want to read that. I know there's a bunch of Wings of Fire books. There's also 8 graphic novels, I want to say. Wait. 5, 6, 7. I think it's 7, actually. I think it's only 7, because let's see. The last graphic novel that came out for Wings of Fire was Winter Turning. It goes moon watching. The one with Moon Watcher, and then the one with Winter. 3rd, okay. Then this, then this, then this. Okay. So yeah, there are 7 graphic novels. I won't be going over those. They're really good graphic novels. I have read through a few of them, but I would rather just do book reviews of actual books, not necessarily graphic novels. Not that I have anything against graphic novels. It's just that it's easier to make book reviews on books. And I could actually do a review of the first 7 incarnations of those, but I'm not. I could, because the library does have them. It's just that there's like 5 or 6 other series I want to start. But yeah, I literally have a backlog of like 12 or 13 books I want to read after the Wings of Fire series. So there's that. Anyways, but back to Barnaby Grimes. Paul Stewart and Chris Riddell. I think Chris Riddell is the artist. These books are very, very well illustrated also. Shout outs to the illustrator. I think the illustrator is Chris Riddell, but I'm not sure. This group of people, this team of people, I guess anything more than one person would be a team, I suppose. They do amazing work. I'm very pleased with the Barnaby Grimes series so far. Plus, I've read the first chapter of the book after this, which is like Legion of the Dead or something like that. And that one sounds good too. And then I think there's one, there's a final one that, again, I could get from the library. But again, I'll come back to the Barnaby Grimes series after I've basically knocked off some of these other series. But anyways, if I were to describe Barnaby Grimes in just a few words, I don't want to limit myself too much. I would say that he is a Victorian-era Sherlock Holmes. Because he's kind of, really insightful. He's athletic. He has a sword cane, of all things. I think he calls it a sword stick. But yeah, it's like a cane that's also disguised as a sword. Pretty cool. He's very charming, I would say. But yeah, he likes reading about the supernatural. He goes to this library of the arcane, where they have all these old books that basically talk about the arcane. Very, very interesting. And a very, very nice backdrop, too. Um, this is a British series, so they will use some terminology that Americans aren't really familiar with. And it wasn't until I read this book that I actually looked up some of these terms. Um, for one thing, in the first book, they kept talking about something called a water butt, and I'm not sure why a rain barrel, which is basically what it is. I looked it up. Um, a water butt is a rain barrel, and I'm not sure exactly how that tracks or translates to English, as in American English, but it's kind of neat. It's a really good series. I like this series, so I would highly recommend you check it out. Again, they use their best material in the first chapter, and then they they have like the backstory of how people get there. Then they have that scene, and then they have the story of resolution, which is really cool. But anyways, yeah. Again, if you're looking for a series to start, then I would suggest the Barnaby Grimes series by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddell. It's beautifully illustrated. The books are beautifully illustrated, rather, and the stories are very engaging. If you like Sherlock Holmes, you'll probably like Barnaby Grimes, because I think they're probably cut from the same cloth, except that like Barnaby Grimes is like a magnet to the supernatural, I would say, with werewolves and crazy Aztec rituals and stuff like that. Very, very fascinating. You never know what will happen next. And that's all part of the fun. But anyways, that is going to do it for this video. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all the information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. You are loved, and have a great day.